Welcome back to this third and final hour of Hereticus, and we are shopping.
Yes, we are in fact shopping, and I think right now Francesca is shopping. Then
Oh, and because of the Wise and August GM, you're not paying a single.
we are so incredibly spoiled here.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
I can't begin to describe how privileged we feel.
Yep.
That said, though, Francesca is going to need a few things, or just a couple of things from the quartermaster. First and foremost, she needs grenades, frag grenades.
Sure. Well, so I gave Aya number 10 really, so you can get the same amount.
Yeah, it seems like a smart thing to go into combat with.
Yes.
And then she's going to, because she obviously uses a weapon which can take one, so she's going to request a targeter.
Cool.
Because the bolter can take it.
Yes.
So she requests a targeter, which is obviously going to help her a bit.
What's a targeter? I mean, I can assume what it does from the name of it, but
It allows her. It improves her. It improves her shooting, basically.
Yes.
And I just literally just remembered that there is such a thing, but not. The point is that not all weapons are sturdy enough or large enough to accept one. Heavy weapons are typically equipped with a targeter, and bolters can take them because they're fairly large and substantial weapons as well.
Yes.
Ooh, I can get a melee weapon training chain.
Yep.
Ooh.
So that is that's what she needs, and then if she can get that,
Sure.
it's obviously up to you,
Yes.
because that's what she needs from the quartermaster.
Okay.
And then I have found this really cool thing in Blood of Martyrs that I'm going to do. I'm going to find the if possible at least. I mean, it is the tricorn. She's going to find someone who can bless her weapon.
Well, the drill abbot might be.
Is he capable of? Yeah, that's. She goes to ask, because if he is capable of placing an actual blessing on her bolter, it costs XP. That's the thing. It's a permanent increase, but for her, the bolter is a weapon that she's never going to get rid of anyway.
So I'm kind of thinking he wouldn't be able to, but if she does go to him,
Yeah.
he informs her that if not at the Tricon, then at least when they arrive at their destination,
There will be someone who can.
There will be someone
Piety
there.
of Seth. So yeah.
the
That makes sense.
if they ever come across a kill team, the drill abbot informs her that there's a chaplain there. And
Oh!
that kill team.
Well, yes, getting a chaplain's blessing on a bolter would be something. Just saying.
Oh, I'm so tempted to belt out a quote now, but I'm not going to because it's we're not playing Deathwatch.
So you aren't.
Oh well.
But yes, he does mention that.
She understands that, of course. So yeah, that's excellent.
And well, so there's bound to be someone in the Tricon as well, but he doubts that she'll be able to get through the red tape in time for
No. She's seems quite like the idea of getting, of seeing if she can't come across that chaplain, because that would be a powerful thing to get.
Yes.
And the point, of course, is that if you get that blessed, if you get a blessing on your weapon like that, it confers a +10 to ballistic skill, but only against psychers and demons.
That is pretty cool.
But it's still, I mean, it just seems to fit so well.
Yes, it really does. And for Rasmus's and Aya's benefit, when I mentioned chaplains, they are basically Space Marine priests, war priests, really. And that's basically what they are.
Yes, black armored, skull helmeted
Yes.
badasses.
Yes.
They are the Emperor's will made manifest.
Yes. They really
It's
are.
okay. There is that thing that it's actually only for one encounter, and then it still costs XP. So okay, that might not be.
Well, you
Oh, well.
at least
You can still get it. You can still get a blessing on it, obviously.
there might still come a time when that becomes handy. Who knows?
Yeah. That
You might stand back to back and shoulder to shoulder with Space Marines and fighting a veritable
host
cabal
of
of Dark Eldar.
You make that sound like such a negative thing.
Okay, so so that's the equipment taken care of. Let's just click on the link. Yes, these are the Centillan Fusiliers. And the thing about it is that at least Eldar are basically space
Let me
elves.
find. Well, while we're on the issue of
We're posting
pictures,
so
let me
many
find some
pictures
Dark
that
Eldar.
the audience aren't going to see, unfortunately, and we're very
Well,
sorry.
I'm
about that.
clicking on them, so
Okay, they are
See.
seeing excellent.
yes.
So let's find some good images of Dark Eldar.
Yes, the Centillan Fusiliers look like,
Here is a nice example of the miniatures, but they're not. They're too small. They're you can't barely see it.
Yeah.
So
I would like.
here, much better. This is a good example of two Dark Eldar. They are a pair of, I believe, standardized troops.
Let's see.
They're
Yeah,
not
yes.
very nice looking.
No,
They aren't.
I mean,
aren't.
their armor
They
looks
really
fishy as
are.
fuck, but they don't look very nice.
They are
They
a very
aren't.
nice period. So yeah.
Yes, the point is that, they need to engage in the most obscene depredations, tortures, cruelties imaginable, or their souls get consumed by Slanesh.
By Slanesh, indeed.
Yes.
Anyway,
And it's also worth mentioning that that's why Watch Sergeant Enoch mentioned that they don't use psychic powers even if they are able to, because if they do, they become beacons for Slanesh to have a look at and say nom 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 nom.
yes, especially because their city of Komara, which is located inside something called the Eldar Webway, they all come from the same city, the humongous place called Komara, which is located in this extra-dimensional space-traveling web, and they really, really do not want Slanesh to spot the webway.
Yep.
They really don't, because that would mean they couldn't travel anywhere anymore.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, back to Francesca. Does Francesca need anything else?
Nope, that's it. So
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
all
now
ready to go the next day.
yes.
Of course. No, sorry. Carry on.
I was just going to say that let's assume then that we then once you've done your shopping, unless you have any scenes you'd like to roleplay, then we might as well just fast forward to the next day and.
Well, Tim definitely comes back to the quartermaster.
Oh yeah, to get the
So what was it called again? So I can finally add it to my loop.
I'll just do like a so because it's a fun word. And
It's
like
a cinnamon cloak.
So nope, it is a camellia line cloak. And what it does is that it provides you with a plus 20 bonus to any concealment tests you make. And as long as you're stationary, you're counted as if being on extreme range when people are using ranged weapons against you. So that's pretty cool.
I think Tim just shut up inefficiency. Not that he was inefficient before, but
No.
But
yes. So basically what the description of this thing is that camellia line material is made up of mimic fibers that blend the coloration of the wearer into their surroundings. Basically, you're a chameleon. So that's cool.
Yes.
It definitely is.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to do before departure?
I think I'd like to save Akalon talking about his homeworld until after we are sort of making our way there.
Sure.
I think Tim will meet with the others and, just reiterate that we might face these Cenas and we should prepare accordingly. Also, if we find somewhere where he can put down a sniping position for a while, he will likely trap the place. He will let you know over the communication if he traps the place. But, if you're going to go get him, please be careful not to explode yourself.
Yes, we should probably contact you on our comm before we actually go looking for you, just in case.
Might be prudent.
Yep. Just in case. Cool. So you have all the equipment you think you're going to need on your mission.
You never have too much equipment.
You never have too much of it, but,
At the same time, you
should
absolutely
also
can.
be... Yeah, and it is a war zone, so if we come across anything we specifically need for one specific mission, there will most likely be the possibilities of locating what we need on in situ, if nothing else, from the Imperial Guard.
Yep. So
We are, after all, there to help them.
Yes, you are. So, just to reiterate, your primary objective on the Piety of Seth is to locate these geometric shapes. And it's pretty damn vague, but that's really all there is to it, is you need to find them. And how many of them there are on the planet,
Bugger all no.
Yep, exactly. And secondary objective is for you to, while there, to assist the Imperial Guard in putting an end to any kind of heresy or desertion among the men, or so on and so forth. They've also mentioned the what was that abbey called again?
The Abbey of St. Helena's Mount.
Yes, exactly. As a possible thing for you to investigate, seeing, and this is, I think that was the watch sergeant who mentioned this, because that is, as far as the kill team can tell, that is where the Dark Angels struck first, and it is the where they have the most data from with regards to the Xenos presence on the planet.
That's because. No,
and again, so dealing with the Dark Eldar is the kill team's mission, but the kill team also suspects that the Dark Eldar have something to do with these geometric shapes that you're after. So, and that's why they've basically given you this lead and said, go check out this place if you feel like it. So yeah. Is there anything I've forgotten? I don't think so.
Private message.
Private message. Okay, switching to Rule 20. That's actually a good question. Rasmus has asked about tasers and whether or not they exist.
Or something similar.
There aren't, as far as I know, tasers as such. At least not. There aren't in the rules. There are shock batons, for example, like shock mauls. So close combat weapons that allow you to deliver a shock, basically like a cattle prod, except in mace form. Yes. Those exist, but that requires obviously for you to be very close and hit them in close combat.
How about a taser grenade-ish deal?
Those
so a stun grenade exist. Or something.
Yeah, they do exist, but they're very rare. Mm-hmm. They're not easily accessible.
I assume then that I cannot have any.
No.
I mean, good grief. I mean, this is a universe where I think anyone that suggested the mass production of any weapons that could be considered non-lethal would be laughed out of the room.
Well, there are blind grenades and smoke grenades and so on.
Yes,
so
but let's face it, most everything you hear about in Warhammer 40,000 is designed to kill, not only to kill, but to kill in spectacularly gory ways.
That's true.
Well, I would say Tim's purpose with a taser would be to stun the enemy long enough for him to put a bullet through the skull.
Exactly. I think the closest the Space Marines, for example, get to a non-lethal weapon is the grav gun, and that's only if it's set on its lowest setting, because anything else will cause the target to literally be crushed under their own gravitatic weight.
Yeah.
But yes.
Well, I'll just quote, it's not paranoia if they really are out to get you.
Exactly.
That is very true.
Absolutely correct.
Yes. Unfortunately, stun grenades is not something you can acquire easily.
Well, it's worth asking.
Damage-dealing grenades, absolutely, you can get tons of those.
I'll get a few of those.
And you also have some crack grenades. Those are pretty cool.
They're very useful.
Yes.
Especially just in the horrible scenario that we should come up against Dark Eldar vehicles. Oh, good gods. If that's the case, please have one of them left.
Yes.
I will remember that. Now, the way Tim approaches combat is always a matter of minimizing enemy advantages and maximizing his own advantages.
Yeah. It should also be said that Dark Eldar, we probably don't know this yet, but there should be a possibility of studying on it while on the way there. The Dark Eldar armor is light because they move very, very quickly.
Yes. And you say study, but you can actually just talk to the Watch Sergeant because he's going with you.
Exactly. Well, that's studying as well.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So the thing about, and this is just out of game, just so you're aware, the Scintillan Fusiliers are basically the Imperial Guardsmen from Scintilla itself. The regiments that are drafted there. The thing about these, the Scintillan Fusiliers, is that they are mostly comprised of men and women of high standing, noble, influential merchant sons, and
good families, basically.
Good families. This also means that they very rarely see combat.
So they're paper soldiers more than anything else?
They really are. And the thing about that is now that some of them have defected, gone to the dark side, so to speak, and the others are fighting them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first time they
to the bad side are more likely to have suddenly picked up on fighting than the other ones.
Yeah, the first real combat they get to experience is against each other, so...
Yeah.
Fun time.
That's not going to be good.
Nope.
It's also likely that the battlefields we're going to experience then are complete and total chaotic messes.
Yep. Okay. So the next day, you guys make ready. You have your equipment. You've done whatever it is you need to do to prepare for your journey. Whatever that is. And you're basically ready to go. And what happens is that there is a shuttle that'll take you from the Tricorn to an inquisitorial cruiser standing by in orbit, which is then ready to, which will then take you to the Piety of Seth. The problem is, you can't go through the warp. There's no warp travel in this journey. This means it'll take a while.
Actually, it'll probably take a bloody long time.
Yes. I'm not quite sure just how long, but expect at least months, if not longer.
It'll definitely be months.
Yeah.
All kinds of things can happen to us on the way.
Yes, and to the planet itself. For all you know, when you arrive, there's no war left. Everyone's dead. and that is of course a problem. But you've been told that while there are warp travel is theoretically possible, the people in the know about these things have basically said this. No, it's not happening. There's something preventing you guys from warp travel.
From using the warp, yeah.
Yep.
All right. That means, as you say, it's probably going to be several months on board this cruiser. Well, at least a cruiser, an inquisitorial cruiser, is 5 kilometers long and has a crew of 50,000 people. So we're hardly going to be bored.
No, no, you absolutely aren't. And it has all the facilities you need for such a journey to keep yourself prepared for this.
Good. That was my first, or Tim's first worry when I heard that such a long time doing nothing would definitely dull the edge of any weapon.
Oh yes,
but you have all the facilities you need to maintain your
combat readiness.
So yes, absolutely.
But I should also say Medea has said something that she would like to do, and I think that sounds very, very interesting, and I think we should try to make time for it. She's been writing it in the chats.
Oh, I just saw that just above. Tim's whisper. Okay, cool.
Waited for that, so I think we should give time to it. And I think that with as long a time as we have, there will definitely be time to sit down and get to know each other. Quite frankly,
there really is, and so yeah, you get in your shuttle and you're basically it takes you to this cruiser. You settle in. I'll see if I can find a picture of a cruiser. But you settle in. You get your assigned your quarters, and you settle in there. The Space Marine gets an entire section of the ship all to himself and his retinue. But he does he basically says to you while in the shuttle on your way to the cruiser that at any time you feel like it, you can just come on knocking, and he'll be up for a chat or two. He does seem quite approachable.
Well,
sounds good.
There you go. Mars class Imperial cruiser.
Mars class Imperial. Blah 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 blah. Space Marine pet. You didn't get a Space Marine pet.
That thing is 5 kilometers long. That gives you a good idea of the size of those turrets.
Yes.
I mean,
it really is a large.
They are called macro batteries for a reason.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. I mean, let's face it. A shell fired out of one of those ships could easily dwarf the size, using Star Trek here, the size of the Enterprise.
Yes.
Yes. So to answer your question, Medea, you got a Space Marine pet early this session.
In form of.
Only he's not really your pet, but
I think it's the other way around, if anything.
Yeah.
But
well, if he's approachable and all that, I think Tim would definitely spend as much time as he feels the other, so that the Marine doesn't get annoyed with him. Picking his brain for strategies for fighting not only these Xenos, but in general.
Sure.
Might as well learn from people who are supposedly the best.
Yes, absolutely. No question, and he absolutely can teach you a thing or 1,000. Basically the Space Marine is going to the same war zone. He has a kill team there. Why their watch sergeant aren't with them at the moment, but with you, that's only for him to know, but he's going to join up with his fellow Space Marines on the planet. They have their own mission.
He really needed the loo.
So he took an Imperial cruiser and went back to Scintilla just to go to the loo.
Just to use the bathroom because his power armor is suddenly breaking down and not able to process his waste.
He made such a fart that it was contaminating all air within his suit.
He's not the Death Guard, for goodness sake.
No, but I do think that on the way there, Francesco will definitely take time. I mean, other than reading more on the Inquisition, I mean, it is an inquisitorial cruiser, so presumably the cogitators on board is going to have access to significant parts of a library. But other than continuing her studies, she will spend time with her team, and she will in fact spend more time with Medea than she has before, because she still feels bad about having shot her.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I guess she would. Cool.
I'm still sorry I shot you. It's fine, I didn't feel a thing.
You really didn't. Okay, so Tim.
Yes.
The number of war stories the Space Marine has to tell you about the Dark Eldar is beyond comprehension. I won't go into detail because it could take a while. But
I think actually the man will quickly find that Tim is pretty much only interested insofar as he can glean tactical advantages from them.
that he does figure that out eventually. But even so, there's still a lot for him to tell you. And also because as a Death Watch, he's a Death Watch veteran, which means he's first of all he spent a lot of time with his own chapter, the Dark Angels, fighting all sorts of enemies of the Imperium. But then he's also been seconded to the Death Watch for quite a while now, which means he's also fought Xenos for many years. And so, and the thing about that is that a kill team is comprised of Space Marines from different chapters, and different chapters have different tactics. Oh. So he can also tell you various stories about his Watch brothers and their approach to combat with the Xenos.
Well, he's just a strategic goldmine.
He really is. Not all of it, of course, can be used on at your level. Much of it is Space Marine specific, but
this one is quite good.
But certainly a lot of it.
Death Watch, Dark Angel, painted. Obviously they're painted black since they're in the Death Watch.
I think it is at this point that Tim develops an interest in what you call that macro strategy, as opposed to just strategy involving him.
Sure. Perhaps on a unit scale or even larger.
Well, that is tactic, or that strategy, whereas what he's been doing so far has been tactics.
Yes.
Well, he develops at the very least a slight interest for strategy then.
Okay, cool.
Aside from that, he will also want to study the enemy in any other way possible. It sounded like they had someone who might also know. And I assume Sister Francesca is our best melee, but I don't actually know.
No, she's really not. I don't think. Well, she might be, but that would be a surprise. She's awful at it.
I think we all are.
She's got 30 weapon skill.
Oh, he actually has 31.
Yay!
She's not a close combat specialist. Very few Sisters of Battle use swords of any kind.
I'm even better than you two. I have 22 weapon skill.
Whoa! How about you, Akalon?
26 weapon skill.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
So
I think in that case, it's more
efficient.
I think it's better for Tim to practice ways to get out of melee combat rather than practicing actual melee combat.
Sure. He can practice tactical retreats.
Don't worry, you'll survive with a knife.
I don't have a knife. I have a sword.
You can practice what's it, in inverted commas, advancing in another direction.
Yes,
indeed.
I mean,
we are not retreating. We are advancing in a different direction.
Yes.
Indeed.
And you're going up against elite melee specialists.
Yes, indeed. So gun them down before they get close, or we're screwed.
Basic. There's one. Ah! Bang, 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 bang.
Of course. Yeah. This assumes, of course, that you even meet the Dark Eldar. But
we will. It's guaranteed.
I'm still going to ask if there's time for for Medea to go through her story.
Oh, there absolutely will be.
I would love to hear it.
I'm just getting a sense of
Yep.
what you're doing on board the ship. So, Akalon, what are you doing?
Good question. Spending his time praying with Medea, because he's keen to keep up his help with Medea and her prayer and her newfound spirituality. Continuing to practice with weapons and develop his try and refine his psychic abilities a bit more, because he knows they're going to be especially useful in a war zone.
Yeah.
So he's looking at finding ways to not just pure brute force in terms of using psychic abilities, but esoteric things. Like he's been practicing whether or not he can use his psychic abilities to give himself enhanced aim with guns, things like that.
Sure. Cool. Well, that's definitely doable. Cool. Something I forgot to mention is that as you leave the Tricorn, you actually realize that you are not the only ones from the Tricorn going to the piety. There are also the drill abbot, Esos Vince, is coming with you, as is Master Chirurgeon Ansel Mons and Quartermaster Quasson.
Oh my
So
god!
those three are also coming with you in a supporting role.
Well, I might get to pay back that favor sooner rather than later then.
Yes.
Indeed.
Just need the quartermaster to be in danger and then for me to save him.
Yes, you must sneak across the entire length of the ship and pilfer various items for him.
Yes. So okay, so we now have some idea of what you spend your time on the ship, except Medea. How does Medea spend her time aboard a 5 mile long ship with 5 kilometers? Yes, long ship with a crew of approximately 50,000.
Well, that sounds like it's crowded as hell.
It is.
So she quite at home.
She yeah, that's actually a good point.
Very good point.
Yeah,
It's fine.
she's having the time of her life.
Not necessarily. It is a very long journey, and she can't just leave those 5 miles.
No,
or kilometers. Yep.
And so while it is true that this is a city in its own right, much like a hangar in our world is a hangar ship is a city in its own right. Each person aboard this cruiser has a specific role to play or to fill on the ship, and so it is very organized and very systematic what goes on the ship. There's no such thing as leisure time on this ship.
No, you sleep or you work.
You sleep and you work. Exactly. But at some point, if Medea, if you're up for it, I think Sister Francesca is angling for a bit of
Insight,
yes, into Medea.
some knowledge about her as a person, quite frankly, and better understanding of her, because they've traveled for quite a while now, and Francesca still has this distinct feeling that she's gotten to know the other two pretty well, but she doesn't actually know Medea at all.
Yeah.
And she would like to know more.
Obviously. Well, I imagine after some time where Sister Francesca has been following Medea around because I'm so sorry I shot you.
Yes!
They're probably sitting somewhere.
Yeah, I imagine so.
I mean, maybe Akalon could be joining you with that one as well, because
Sure he could. no reason why he couldn't.
Sister Francesca is probably reading some of all her books, and Medea is looking at the pictures.
Yes.
For now, she has realized that me means oneself.
Yes.
So she is now pointing out all the me's in every book.
Yes. And I think also that would actually be ego, because they, like ego sum, because they, they write in Latin, really.
Yeah, sure.
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I had it on STX, but after that, I just happily ignored everything and forgot.
Yeah. And then
Latin was a thing, and then it wasn't anymore, and then I could throw out my little papers.
Just saying that's the the basically that's the language they speak. But the how about Tim, because he said he wanted to learn how to read. So Francesca would be more than happy to help them both learn.
He will be happy. I think she'll then notice that he's quite adept at finding patterns.
Yes.
That is basically also what Medea is doing.
Yeah.
She's not reading as much as recognizing.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to start, obviously. So, yeah, sure. Well, they have time to do this. That's a good thing. So yeah, but again, she is occasionally, she's not being terribly intrusive about it, and she does accept the no, but it's pretty clear, no question, to Medea that Francesca's interested in her personal story.
Yeah, they've been sitting there for a little while. Medea looks up from her book and closes it. I know you've all shared your backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I've a little hesitant with mine after I started knowing the actual world. It's not pretty.
Well, you did come from a very secluded place, so I guess it stands to reason. But does that mean that you would like to share with us?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm not sure what you'll think of me after, but yeah. I don't know my parents. I've never seen them. I've always been alone. As such, it's... As you said yourself, the Underhive isn't for children. So I don't think I ever really was.
A child, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I don't remember much before I'm 8 or 10, and all I remember was anger and hunger, and everything was a fight to survive. I've seen death many times. Last time wasn't actually the first time. It was just another thing to survive. I'm not even sure if I am 17 years old, because I could be anything, really. It's just as long as I remember back, really. Or how long people says I've been around. But I do know when I first killed a person. I was 8.
I think that gets a raised eyebrow, because that's obviously insanely early.
And it was either him or me.
I think you chose well then.
Incidentally, it was also the first night I went to bed with a full stomach.
That gets a raised eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, definitely.
You know what there's the most of in the Underhive?
People.
Yeah. It's the most ready meat there are.
Oh dear.
Exactly. At first, I never really thought about it. But as I grew older, I realized that it was probably not the best thing to eat, but it was the best source of food down there. It was either that or gamble with your life on anything else.
It is an absolute miracle. And I mean that in the most literal sense possible. I mean, I don't presume to understand the Emperor's Tarot, the divinations of that. But there must... People who partake in human flesh are almost always severely tainted by the act, and very, very, very swiftly so.
I've never had any issues.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing that...
Anyway.
Yeah.
When I was 10, I found Kelsa. Her mother had just dumped her somewhere. And she weren't that much younger than me. But I helped her out. Then Aegor came along a few years later. And when I were around 13, I started looking around for other children in need. That's when I started getting the Rugrats. Obviously, I've lost more than I've actually saved, but there isn't much to do when they first get sick down there.
No.
So I did my best to teach them how to survive. I've lived in that eye socket as long as I remember.
Well, it is possible. It's possible, however strange it may sound, but it is actually possible that the saint is what has protected you from corruption.
I didn't even know his name before now.
No.
But yeah. Haha, Heine. It's not been a particularly moving around kind of life. And all the days kind of meld into one, really. But I quickly realized that eating people is a bad thing on the surface.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
very much so.
I mean, the Emperor. Akelon is looking quite pale.
I need you to make me a promise that you won't do that again. That it's a thing of the past for you, that you left that behind.
Do I really need to promise you that?
Yes, it's a very grave sin, and if you do so, I'm sure you don't intend. But this is a matter of absolution.
I'm pretty sure I won't survive this anyway.
Well, here's hoping you will. So, yeah, I'm simply asking you to do that.
When I say this, I mean the Inquisition. I'm pretty sure I won't end up down there again.
No, that I think is a certainty that you won't. So I am to take it that means that you won't do it again.
No, I won't.
Good. In that case, considering what else you've done, and considering for the Inquisition, and considering that you were not tainted by that, the first taint you really got for real. I think everybody who lives down there is in contact with some foul things. But the first real taint you came across was that geometric shape we found in that hole in the middle hive. And you've been very diligent in your prayers with the drill abbots, and you've made tremendous progress. Really, you have made enormous progress to the point where I understand from Akalon that you two actually spend a good deal of time praying together. I'm incredibly happy to hear that, and very relieved. And based on that, I'm not going to bring this up again, and I'm not going to hold it against you. We saw the Underhive. We saw what it's like, briefly. Cannot imagine the hardship of living in such a place, especially as a child. And as I said, the fact that you came out of there in the state that you did is, in my opinion, nothing short of a miracle granted by the God Emperor himself. It has to be.
He even saw fit to give her a kind heart to look after those
Yes.
that could not look after themselves.
Yes, that is a
Medea is
thing.
Tim, because he really doesn't seem like the person who values a kind heart over professionalism.
His expression is as expressionless as always.
Obviously. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the Inquisitor Dex knows.
I think there's very little about us, each of us, that the Inquisitor doesn't know in every detail.
I mostly know because she rummaged through my head when the pain thingy didn't work.
Yes, and that, in my opinion, also proves that if she believes that this is a non-issue, then it is a non-issue. I'm going to take my lead in this case from the Inquisitor. And it looks, it's pretty clear. You can all see that right now there's something pretty important happening in Francesca's head. There's some real, there's a lot of things happening right now. This is strange.
It is just weird though. Seeing all the horrible things we've seen after this, and before this. Half of the people we shoot for heresy is people who've done some of the same things I've done.
The Inquisitor has seen fit to forgive you for those sins. That is all that needs to happen. She has that authority.
Of course.
And
if I hadn't killed that fucking nobleman, they would never have caught me and I would never have been here. I don't know if that was a blessing in disguise either.
I think it is. I think it is for several reasons. I think it's... No, I don't think I know that it's a good thing for us to have you here in this unit. We benefit from your presence.
Medea doesn't looks like she doesn't really buy that one.
You're good in a fight, which is a good start. You also bring some very different experiences. I mean, remember, for me, I lived my life secluded in the Schola Progenium. I lived, and then in a monastery. I've until I went out on my first combat mission, I knew very little of the world outside as well. I've lived in a secluded, protected environment most of my life since I was a little girl, and that for me means that the experience you bring to the table is valuable. I could never understand people in a place like the Underhive. It's beyond me. It's not. I don't have any frame of reference other than what you can tell us. And I'm pretty sure the same thing would go for the other two. I'm not going to pretend I can talk or speak for them, but I imagine that that would be the case.
Tim nods. There's something to be said for the unpredictability of a foreign mindset. At
Yes.
least tactically.
Indeed.
You are, furthermore, you're brave. We saw that in the church to the point of foolhardiness, even, and I would strongly urge you to be more careful. But
It wasn't bravery.
what was it then?
I don't feel the pain, so there's nothing to fear.
That's not the same thing as not being afraid of dying.
I've never had that fear.
No, but that is bravery. That is, in fact, bravery. Most people are terrified of dying. And the fact that you're not makes you brave. It makes you willing to do things and able to do things that normal people, frankly, can't.
Medea is shaking her head. No. Bravery is fighting despite fear of death.
I'm not quite sure I agree with that, because I've seen that enough times to know that quite a few people who fight despite their fear of death do so because they simply have no other choice. They're put. If we are going to a war zone now, and you will see Imperial Guardsmen there who are from, this is the Scintillan Fusiliers we're going to go and see. And they are a bunch, quite frankly, of pampered, spoiled brats. They barely see combat action until this point. And I'm, we might see a lot of very, very brave men and women there. I'm sure we will. We're also going to see a god's awful amount of cowards. And the cowards will not have a choice but to pick up their las rifle and fight anyway, because if they don't, there's going to be a commissar behind them with a las pistol to the back of their head. That's the way it works. So the chance of dying in combat is still smaller than saying, oh, but I'm not going to fight, because that's certain death. So what you're doing is an act of bravery, whether you want to believe it or not. And furthermore, again, still, you're good in a fight. You have experience that the rest of us can use. So you are a boon to the group. It's, it's that simple. And now that we know more about you, personally, you are not an unlikable person. You are strange, have very different life experiences than the rest of us, obviously. That does not mean that you cannot be likable. I'm very bad at forming actual friendships. I'm perfectly aware that I am awful at it.
Likewise.
I'm inexperienced at it. I used to, my sisters in the order, sure, I had very close relationships to those, but it's not the same as what you would call a friendship. They're family. They're actually, they're my family. They're what family I have, or had, I should say. Seeing as I'm now no longer with them, but this is. I know that Lon has told me so, that he's concerned about the way my opinions on the Inquisition is going. I'm fairly certain that when all those people died, because I could tell from the looks on your face that you weren't too happy with what happened in the Middle Hive either, and you even mentioned it to me at one point that it seemed unnecessarily brutal. Medea.
I really don't remember.
Oh, you did.
This is out of character.
Oh yeah, you did at one point bring it up to her that this seems like a very extreme solution.
I really don't remember ever saying that, because Medea is very much of the, well, yeah, kill everyone, otherwise the disease would just spread.
But it was, well, then that might be the case, but she still
But I really don't remember, I have to listen back to it.
But she still says so, whether that is the case or not. It's just, the thing is, I'm aware of that. I'm not trying to make myself into, best and friendliest person out there. But I should like to consider all of you my friends. We've seen some pretty horrible things together. We've come through some really, really dangerous situations together. We've only done so because we've worked together and because we've functioned as a team. All of us. Not just me and Achelon, or not just Tim and you. All of us. That has to count for something. That firefight in the bar, down in the Middle Hive, it's a good example. Everybody held their own weight. Everybody did good. That fight in the church, yeah, you very nearly went down, Medea, but you started a fight on your own, surrounded by Emperor knows how many gang members, all armed, and you didn't even wear body armor.
I got pissed.
Yes, and as I said, please be careful, because we can't spare you. We need you. But you still held out until I got in there and accidentally shot you, for goodness sake. And alright, I did not put you down, somebody else did, but I didn't contribute to your good health. So the group, all of us, together, we've accomplished things that are important. Even if they are at times awful and horrible. Even if at times that includes doing things that, quite frankly, should give us all nightmares for the rest of our lives. It's still a team effort. Does that make any sense to the rest of you?
Yes, it does.
Tim looks thoughtful, then clears his throat. I respect you enough to be honest with you.
Yes.
I definitely prefer you to other people, but it will not stop me from putting a bullet in your brain, if needs be.
Oh, I don't expect you to change that, and I don't... I think that is a... It is a quality. You are loyal to the cause. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't, the fact... I should hope all of you would do that if I suddenly turned bad. Admittedly, no Sister of Battle has ever fallen to the, as far as I know, has ever fallen to the great enemy, and morally has never actually joined them. But that's not to say that if I should be the first, then yes, please, all of you, put me down.
Tim nods.
Alright, then I can repay the favor.
Yes.
Please
Yes,
do.
you can. But I hope what I'm saying here still makes sense to the rest of you. Because I'm sitting here having, well, for lack of a better word, I'm having an epiphany, because as I said, I come from a very protected and secluded background. And I've grown up learning the tenets of the sisterhood. And if I had heard you tell that story, Medea, the first day we met, if that was the first thing I had heard out of you, I would have looked directly at the Inquisitor and said, please permit me to put a bullet in. That would have been my reaction, because that would have been what was be expected of me as a sister of battle. But I am more than a sister of battle right now. I'm something else as well. I'm an inquisitorial acolyte. That means I have got to look at a picture which is greater than only the teachings that I brought with me from the sisterhood. I have got to look at the Inquisition's teachings as well. It is a new situation, and it's difficult for me at times to adjust to. That's partly why I spend so much time in the library.
Medea notes.
This isn't easy on any of us.
I don't really see us as friends,
That's fine.
but I've never really had friends.
Well,
I have, however, made my own families before, so I think it's more like that.
that works. I can certainly live with that. And we may still form that kind of bond down the line. I have a nothing, if nothing else, I have a good professional relationship with all of you. I think I get along really well with you, Akelon. We talk quite a lot.
Yes.
And I like the other. You're both of the other two in this. I like even you, and in all your glum, gloomy detachment, Tim.
I'll have you know I'm quite the optimist. It's very clear from his face that no, he is in fact not an optimist in any way.
No,
Well, not an optimist, but at least you're a comedian.
Well, Akalon seems like the nice older brother, and Francesca is the nice older sister, and I guess Tim can be the weird uncle.
yes, I guess so. Oh, that's a good one. No, but thank you, and I'm rambling, but I really genuinely hope that what I've been saying here has, makes any sense to the rest of you in terms of we are going to a place which is going to be infinitely more dangerous than what we faced in the Middle Hive. Believe me, what we faced there was a very subversive gang. Yes, sure, they had explosives and a truck that they ran at us, and they had some in some cases some pretty nasty powers, and they had some good guns, but it was a small scale thing. I've been on battlefields before. Remember, before I joined the Inquisition, I've seen actual combat before. I was told that I had been selected to join the Inquisition quite literally while I was patrolling the ruins of a destroyed city. I had moments before I was told I had just administered the Emperor's mercy to a desperately wounded guardsman who was he was dying in agony, and all I could do was speak a few kind words to him and put him out of his misery. There was nothing else to do for him. We're going to see things on Piety of Seth that most of us cannot possibly believe. Medea, in the Underhive, you've seen gangs fight quite often, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And what would you say those gangs... a really large gang fight, a really big one. Biggest gang fight you ever saw. How many people were involved in that? 200?
I don't know, I can't count.
Well, fair enough, but...
That would be usual, wouldn't it?
And it's rather crowded in the first place and not a lot of
Obviously.
space, so you can't really see how big a fight is when it goes on down there.
No, but okay, let me ask in a different way then. Would it be when we go to, to the chapel here on board ship, would it be enough, would you say that it would be as many people as you can pack in there, or half as many as that? For example. Would that
More.
be more? Okay, more than that. So it has been large. Now, we are going to a place where 10 guardsmen regiments have rebelled. Most Imperial Guard regiments consist of 30,000 men, or thereabouts. Some of them are slightly larger, some of them are a little smaller, but that's pretty much the average. 30,000 men in a regiment. That's 300,000 men on a battlefield. And that's just the Imperial Guardsmen. We don't know how many cultists have joined them. We don't know how many civilians will pick up a weapon and fire at us when we get there. It could be half the world is in open rebellion. We could be shooting every step we take.
Why are they rebelling?
I don't know. But I do strongly suspect that it has something to do with the corrupting influences of those shapes that we've been finding. Because remember, every time we found one of those things, it's turned people's minds to mush. Every time. The only one that it hasn't done that to is the Inquisitor, and she's still, she can't even communicate without a psychic choir anymore. I mean, she's alive, sure.
But that's very freaky.
It's really, that goes to show just how strong she is.
Listen, either way, yes. We will do what we must. We will fight who we must.
We will indeed.
This is personal to me. They have made a war zone of my home. I'm not going to forgive that.
And you shouldn't.
Speaking of which...
You should not forgive it.
I do not plan to. Speaking of which, I should perhaps bring you all up to speed on some matters of the planet while we have the time.
Yes, please.
Although I'm not sure I'm actually going to do that out of character because it is now nearly 1:15 the hour.
Yes, we can always have a flashback next time.
Yes.
If we want to have Accolon recount some details about the piety of Seth, because when last Accolon saw the piety of Seth as he left the planets to go to Scintilla, it was a thing of green and blue, and he saw the two tiny silvered specks where the planet capital, Port Calling, and a much smaller starport, Port Hadley, were located. Now, though, as the cruiser approaches the planet and you're all able to see it, it is nothing but smoke and darkness and small flashes of light as artillery bombardments strike their intended
and the
target.
fact that we can see those from from space, those are some serious artillery bombardments.
Yes, indeed they are. And with that, I think we'll wrap up this session, and we'll see what happens on the Piety of Seth next time. Because of course,
somehow I don't think we're going to see what happens on the Piety of Seth only next time.
That's true. So let's say 300 XP for this session.
Hey!
Ooh, perfect.
And with that, I am going to go to bed.
Yes.
Please wait one moment, Heine.
Oh?
I have been drawing.
You've been drawing? Oh, cool.
Ooh, let's see it.
Well, let's have a look at
My
that.
program would
My
work.
guess is that you've been drawing Accolon again.
No,
Oh,
Me.
I've been
you've
drawing
drawn
Tim.
someone else.
Tim.
Oh, sorry, Tim. Of course, yes.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. I was.
I just need my
Accelerate.
program to start working.
Why on earth would it do that?
Good question.
That is a good question.
We should get you to do something about the rest of them as well.
I agree.
I just figured now that he got an awesome new swag cloak, I could make a new picture. Also, I did not like the last drawing I did of him.
Ooh, that is nice.
That is pretty cool.
That is good.
Yep.
Somehow he's managed in the months to have actually lost weight. That's
Yeah.
He was meant to be incredibly skinny.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
I just
I mean-
failed on every level on the old drawing.
no, that's fine. I mean, she's approaching Eldar levels of emaciated.
Yes.
He has a strength of 27, 24, and a toughness of 30. He's not a big man.
No, he is small. Anyway, I think we should let Heine go and get some sleep.
Yeah,
I've shown the illustration to the viewing audience. So
Awesome.
So yeah.
beautiful.
Awesome. Okay.
With that,
Yes.
to everyone who's listened and who's been viewing this little shindig we have going, until next time, bye.
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 Bye.